Welcome to Live at 6:45. So I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds. I am once again lakeside, which is always nice. It's a beautiful day. Actually, it was drizzling earlier, and it was saying, "No, there's going to be thunder showers, guaranteed 100%." Welcome to Montreal and environs, where if you don't like the weather, wait an hour. Yeah, I'm convinced that Robin Williams was onto something when he said, "You know what the word meteorologist really means? It means liar." But no, weather here tends to be a little bit odd. You can hit 5 seasons in one day. It's a little bit special. But anyway, all right. Jumping in. So you'll notice on the title down here, it says Amiga Beta. Okay, a long time ago. A long time ago. Well, all right. Let's put it in context. We're going to go back to. Actually, you know what? There's always been this kind of trade off. We talked about trade offs again a couple of days ago. There's always been these kind of standards wars. And it's really unfortunate because if you guys remember back, we had like the beta VHS, oh, beta VHS. And a lot of people were like, well, yeah, but VHS was better. No. Beta was actually a better technology. It had clearer image, better sound, lasted longer because the parts were machined the right way, and so on. Um, but it had a serious disadvantage in that it was more expensive. Even the tapes were more expensive, but it was a really, really good technology. So why did VHS win? Because it was cheaper. And to sell to the consumer masses, the cheaper won. This is unfortunate. But VHS is behind us. So, But then it happened again. Um, I'm sure you've all. Um, the fact is that Blu-ray had a competitor. Blu-ray had its version of beta, and it was HD DVD, having better image, slightly cleaner, because it was less compressed, cleaner image, slightly sharper sound, um, and the the fact that it didn't win over Blu-ray. Well, why? It had a wider color gamut too. Why didn't it win over Blu-ray? Ah, because Blu-ray is a technology owned by Sony. Sony developed Blu-ray, and Sony also owns a lot of movie rights, um, and a lot of production companies. Not the least of which is Buena Vista and the publishing rights for Disney. So, or did for the longest time. So, because of the fact that there was the company influence sold us out for the technology that wasn't quite. I'm not saying Blu-ray's bad. I'm not saying that at all. Blu-ray is good. It's a good technology. But once again, it's a matter of this was the more influential company one, and Blu-ray wasn't necessarily the cheaper one, which was the interesting on this side. But then let me get into the Amiga. The Amiga was a really, really interesting computer. Now, the Amiga came out in the late 80s, and at the time, PCs ran DOS and eventually Windows 3.1. So DOS was all typing, right? It was all typing. And it worked okay. Mac was still in the fledgling stages. It was still just kind of, just came out. And then there was Amiga. And Amiga had a mouse and a graphic user interface. And it had more colors than either the Mac or the PC at the time. It had you could play. There were some great games on it, and it did something most other systems could only dream of at the time. In fact, there are systems today that don't do quite as clean as Amiga did, and it had this thing called the toaster, the Amiga toaster, which allowed you to do visual effects in real time. It was a special box that you attach, and it did all the video processing real time. It was awesome. It was epic. It was stellar. It was spectacular. It was mind blowing. It was way ahead of its time. And yet, you don't go out and buy an Amiga now, do you? Isn't it interesting? So, back in the day, of course, companies had to live and die by their investors because, well, that's the only way you got capital and that's the only way you could launch your product. Let's jump to today. I've shown off some pretty fun stuff. I showed off the Woojr Vest. I showed off the Genki Shadowcast. I showed off the Genki dock. I love those. Those are fantastic. The Genki Bluetooth adapter. And the PrinCube. There's and the secondary monitor, the one that grabs onto your notebook monitor and gives you a second monitor or two. These are all funded by things like Indiegogo and Kickstarter. We are no longer at the point where your full investment has to come from your internal investors. In fact, these are products that are generally sold. These are products that are generally sold before they're complete. Like they have a prototype, but they're not production-ready products yet. And I'm sorry, what can I do? There's no stopping industry. These products were sold, and these products are sold before the production stage. They have a working prototype. They know they can do it, but then they actually get to production stage, and then they ship them out, and you tend to get them cheaper for that time. But that means that we, as individuals, as consumers, can get behind technology we believe in and go that extra step, go that next level further. We can demand better technology, and we should be demanding better technology from the major producers that we're used to seeing. Look, I'm an Apple guy. I love Apple. Apple's great. Apple's a good company. But what I would really like to see, don't get me wrong, the MacBook Pro is an amazing machine and fantastic. It's overkill for most people, and I would love to see them make one with a larger screen. A lot of people would, because there are some people who have worse eyesight. They just want everything bigger. I want a bigger screen because I want a finer resolution but more screen real estate. So these are things that we demand, and yet we don't demand very hard because they're not doing it. The fact that they released the iPhone 12 mini is proof that if there is enough demand for something, if people keep going, if there is enough pressure from us, the consumer, to say, hey, we like that form factor, please bring out that form factor, it comes back, or it can be made. The 12 mini, the iPad mini are two fantastic examples of this idea. Consumer pressure can bring back products, even from a major company. So I want to hear about your favorites. I want to know, like, tell me in the comments, tell me in the questions. Here, you know what? I'm put up the email. Tell me your favorite products so that they don't become the little product that couldn't, right? I mean, we all love an underdog story. Why not be part of one, right? So go ahead, hit me up in the comments, hit me up on the email, hit me up with your favorite kind of underdog product or something that really kind of, hey, that was really cool. But the Woojr Vest, the Aura Systems Interactor, I was a backer of that way back in the 90s when they brought it out. I was really impressed with it. It wasn't a huge commercial success, but because the concept is really cool. And by the way, if you know me and you want to try it, I will happily show you that vest because it's a really cool piece of tech and it's really fun. But all about the fact that tech can be fun. Let's find tech that suits you. Let's look at some of the newest stuff and what's possible, and really dig in and get the best stuff. And we do this by either backing really good stuff or by demanding of larger. Thanks for tuning in. if you guys want to really like just something really cool, take a little Google at Amiga, the Amiga computer. It was way ahead of its time, and it wasn't that expensive. I mean, yes, it was. All computers were pricey back then, but for what it was, it just wasn't grabbed on by business as much. So that was really its kind of downfall. Shame. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. See you guys then.